Welcome, everyone, to 24/7 Sports. I am Tom Loy alongside the 105 guys. We've got Director of Scouting Andrew Ivins and National Analyst Cooper Patagna. Signing day is right around the corner, so we're looking at 2025 recruiting classes all across the country and bringing fans a look at their soon-to-be signees. We're going to hit a few superlatives to clearly state our take on a lot of these guys. Today, we're looking at Ohio State. The Buckeyes have the number 2 ranked recruiting class in 2025, and there are 26 commits set to play for head coach Ryan Day. Andrew, we will start with you. We're looking at early draft pick potential, a guy with elite traits now, a high-level college player down the road, and then a potential first-round pick in the NFL draft. Ivins, who do you got?
I think it's Devin Sanchez. This is an easy one, Tom. Clean, smooth. That's how you start out the scouting report for our top-ranked corner in the class of 2025. This is a kid that has been doing it for a few years at Houston's North Shore. My favorite story with Devin Sanchez, he worked out with some NFL DBs this offseason. Those guys were wondering which organization he was going to play his rookie season at. He was that advanced. Off man, on man, he can track the football. And I think what really stands out about Devin Sanchez is that recovery speed. So the ability to just close the gaps if he does misstep. So Devin Sanchez, for me, I think he's a guy that can be on the field as a freshman. And I think he's going to have a good chance to bake into a first-round pick one day.
Yeah, I would go with Devin Sanchez as well for all the reasons that Drew said. But for the sake of changing it up, I'll go with Tavian St. Clair. And this is a guy that we really liked throughout the process, 6'4", over 220 pounds. He is a quarterback built in a lab. You see him at the Elite 11 finals. Andrew and I joked, if you put him at the NFL scouting combine this past year, he probably would have got drafted as a day 3 NFL draft pick just based off of what he looks like in t-shirt and shorts. So this guy has everything out in front of him. We compared him to Justin Fields a little bit. The reason for that comparison is he has all the physical tools to be in the conversation. Obviously, he's the number 2 player in the country, but to be one of those guys that I think a lot of evaluators are going to be drooling over for years to come here over the next 2 to 3 years at Ohio State. So Tavian St. Clair is certainly a guy in that conversation, as well as Devin Sanchez.
I held cornerback Devin Sanchez for another topic we're going to hit down the road, but I'm going to go with quarterback Tavian St. Clair. Love the frame. The physical traits are there. Extremely talented kid. Probably a guy who could play early if he wanted to at Ohio State. Special talent. Let's move on to day 1 impact, a guy who's going to see the field early and often in Columbus. Cooper, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Zion Grady, and it's probably a little bit of a surprise pick, but you turn on his tape as a senior, he's done some really good things, really proactive pass rusher, and a guy that we really like out of Enterprise High School in Alabama. His ability to go speed to power, strong against the run. I just love his motor. I think Ohio State needs a little bit of oomph off the edge, and I think that's what Zion Grady gives them. High floor player. I think one of those guys that lends to playing early. It's going to be interesting to kind of see, all right, where does he fit in down the line 3 to 4 years from now as an NFL prospect. But in terms of Saturdays, I think he's geared to be able to step in, be able to contribute early in the Big Ten.
Well, I think it's going to be certainly hard for anyone to match what Jeremiah Smith has done in his freshman season there in Columbus. I'm going with running back Bo Jackson, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. We'll see what happens with them in heading into 2025. They might not be there. Yes, James People would probably step in as running back 1, but what's the rotation look like behind him? Bo Jackson, he is a big downhill runner, 6'0" on the dot. 205 pounds is the last weight we have him at. I think you look at the senior tape, he might be pushing 220. Easy for running backs to play relatively early on in their careers. I love what Bo Jackson is able to do in terms of breaking contact. I think he's someone that can provide that downhill force for the Buckeyes as a rookie for them. And I think if you look at Braylon Jackson, what he is doing as a true freshman at Arkansas here this season, kind of similar, just to get an idea of what Bo Jackson can provide in that backfield.
This is where I had cornerback Devin Sanchez slotted. I mean, he's a guy that's just going to have to play in year 1 if you want to get better on defense. Boomer bust, an intriguing talent who could outperform or underachieve with their ranking. Looked at someone as of a mystery. Ivins, who do you got?
I got wide receiver Quincy Porter, and what's kind of funny, 2 years ago, went to see Jeremiah Smith play Quincy Porter's team, and during warmups, my eyes kept going to Porter. It was like, whoa, who is this dude? He ends up catching 6 passes over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game. I think he's pretty raw as a route runner, but physically, just like Jeremiah Smith, he's got those big features. And you think about Brian Hartline fine-tuning those pass catchers in zone 6. I think Quincy Porter, he could outplay where we have him ranked right now. Number 14 wide receiver. We're going to get him at the All-American Bowl here in January. Excited to see what he looks like. Thought he was good against IMG Academy. Had a 90-yard catch and run early on in the season. So for me, Quincy Porter, can he create separation against elite DBs? But man, he's got the tools to emerge as an impact player there for the Buckeyes.
I'm going to go with offensive tackle Carter Lowe, and this guy's pretty interesting. We've liked him throughout the entire evaluation process. He is a natural mover at the left tackle spot. I do think he's going to be more of a right side tackle at the next level, and it's not about the athleticism, the agility, the size, or any of that. He checks all those boxes there, but it's about finishing, getting up to the second level, playing with some sustain and finish ability. I want to see that a little bit more consistently. Drew talked about the All-American Bowl. We'll have Carter Lowe there as well. It's going to be good on good competition. This is a very, very deep year in terms of tackles, and I think Carter Lowe is going to be a good player at the next level. I just want to know, is he going to be closer to that top 32, or is he going to be closer maybe to a top 75, top 100? It's going to be pretty interesting to figure that out in January.
I've got receiver Quincy Porter as well, like Ivins. I'm a little bit on the fence about what he's going to do at the next level, but I'm leaning towards Boom with Brian Hartline, with the quarterbacks playing and how they're doing in Columbus. I just think that if we're seeing an All-American or a first or second round pick down the road, it wouldn't shock me. Diamond in the rough, a 3-star prospect who could some point down the road really emerge as a high-level talent, maybe find himself drafted. Cooper, who do you got, man?
I'm going to go with Jake Cook, the interior offensive lineman, 36-plus inch arms, at least reported, right? Even if it's 34-plus, you got to like that. So I like this kid a lot. Everything I talked about Carter Lowe in terms of the physicality maybe lacking, that is not Jake Cook. I like the fact that he plays tackle. He's going to slide inside to guard. Ohio State, Mark Pantoni, their staff, they do an unbelievable job in the state of Ohio finding these guys that end up being multi-year starters. I think Jake Cook has everything you want there. So I like the way he moves. I think he's a guy built to play in the Big Ten. He was a pretty easy choice for me.
I'm going back to New Jersey here. Safety Deshaun Stewart, number 38 safety for us in the class. I love this kid. I love what he did as a junior. Got to see him at Overtime's OT7 championship down in Florida during the summer months. I mean, he is a big hitter from the back end, but he can cover 6'1". He's got long arms, plus 5 inches on the wingspans, plays through hands, through contact. I think he's a guy that offers some versatility in the secondary for the Buckeyes. They are loaded there at the safety position, so it could be a few years before we see Deshaun Stewart, but he reminds me of another guy that Ohio State pulled out of the Garden State many moons ago. That'd be Jordan Fuller, who went on to be a 6th-round draft pick.
I'm going to go towards tight end, and I love Nate Roberts, but the 3-star I'm going with is Brody Lennon. I know I like what I see, but I know Ohio State is super fired up about this kid and his potential long-term. I think he ends up outperforming his current 3-star ranking. We'll see what happens. That wraps it up. As I said before, we're going to hit a ton of schools leading up to December's early signing period. But for Andrew Ivins and Cooper Patagna, I'm Tom Loy. Stay locked to 247sports.com.